um, that's gonna be like my intro eventually when I have an intro made. What the hell is going on? What's going on today? What are you doing at this moment right now? That's cool. I hope you're watching this. Today is 4/4/2020, and we're in the middle of the COVID-19 um, lockdown shit. There's currently over 8,000 deaths. Um, Unfortunately, it's New York just passed the death total of 9/11. Fucking sucks, dude. Are you kidding me? We're like over that, and then the government announced maybe that it'll be like between 150 to 240 deaths once COVID-19 is under somewhat control. Oh, dude, I was out here and there was a fucking earthquake. And I was like sitting against the wall right here where I normally sit. And I open the door and I tell my fiance, "You feel that?" She's like, "Was that an earthquake?" Oh, hell yeah, that motherfucker was rolling. And it felt weird and it kind of made me dizzy. I don't know if that happens to anybody else. Like, you feel dizzy after? I don't know. I feel super dizzy after. But back to where we're at. People are having just shitty times right now, and some people are thriving. I'm not gonna bullshit you introverts out there. You guys have already been locked down like all your lives. I'm with you, and so I'm right there. But but we have to understand that shit's gonna get worse before it gets better. And we just got to keep our focus on social distancing. Stay away from people, man. It sucks. It sucks. Trust me. I got two daughters that I have to think about where I go because I'd feel the worst guilt in my life if I brought or carried this virus around unknowingly and not careful, you know? Even when I walk in the store, man, I look like I'm gonna rob that motherfucker. I wear a bandana, and sometimes I just leave my sunglasses on with a hat. Boo! Yeah, I'll take that. I'm buying like Skittles or something. God, I gotta stop doing that shit. Somebody's gonna like tackle me one day. Tackle me with the virus. It's like a double whammy right there. But oh, dude, one thing we gotta pat our backs about is California has like put somewhat of a impact on the attempt to like stop the spread or slow the spread of the virus. I noticed that that ad campaign came out, slow the spread. For me, like diction is everything. Diction, wording is everything, and it's unfortunate that we can't say stop the spread. We can only hope to slow it. That's a fucking trip right there. Um, that's a fucking trip. But we gotta pat ourselves on the back. California did it. No one in my immediate family has any type of symptoms. Uh, so I hope. I mean, to me, the social distancing is working for us. Just keep your head up, but don't focus on the negative. Attempt this time to do something like positive or something. Do something fun or do something to improve yourself, but don't get down if you mess up here and there. Like that's one thing I fucking am dealing with right now. It is not like bumming myself out when I fuck up. Like, oh, I'm gonna write every day, and I don't write for like 2 3 days straight, and I feel like an asshole on that third day. But I could sit there and feel bad about myself, or I can just go fucking write. And even if it's something stupid, I just do it. So for me, it's like I enjoy writing. I write all kinds of crazy shit. Some shit nobody will ever see in their lives. But when I do, I usually just leave it in the book. Man, close that shit. That's it. I wrote it on that page. I got that emotion out. Um, the only time I look at it is when I am in a good place to reflect. But if I'm not in a good, like, stable place to reflect, I won't open that shit. I write for the podcast, but it's more social based and emotional based. So it's like I'm looking for a conversation more than I just want to leave my thought on that book. But try it. Try and write something out, and just leave that thought or emotion in that book. Get a go buy a nice moleskin. I don't think Barnes and Nobles is an essential store, but they might sell it at Walmart. Get a nice moleskin book or planner, man. I love those fucking planners. I have like five of them. One for the podcast, one for notes, one for like I take two in like when I'm working, and I keep notes in there and shit. But get yourself a nice little notebook. Something you'll be proud to open every day. Something you like looking at. And then write in that bitch. Draw a picture. If you like to draw, draw. I don't know. Um, One of my college friends, she used to burn her letters or notes, and she used to just burn them. And I just let that bullshit go, as she said. Um, and that's cool. That might work for you, um, or it might not. Maybe you have your own techniques, and if you do, share them. Share them. There's no point in holding that shit in and then not sharing it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got a crazy technique, that is dope. Text me a shout out. Email me. Email me at the everydayguypodcast@gmail. You can text me 562-277-1449. 562-277-1449. My Instagram at the Everyday Guy Pod, or my YouTube at the Everyday Guy Podcast, or my Twitter, Everyday Guy Pod, or my Facebook, the Everyday Guy Podcast. I'm pretty active on all of them, so hit me up if you have any cool shit you'd like to hear on here, or you'd like to share. Fuck, I hate when I do that. Please, 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 let me know. There's there's no reason why we all can't just share our shit and be dope about it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Um, and it's cold as fuck out here. It's cold. It's real cold. But you know what? It's too cold. Yeah. I used to have a motorcycle. Fuck, I miss that thing, dude. Hey, but you know what, man? I got like real lucky riding that motherfucker. I used to drink a lot, and I'd jump on the bike, dude, and I'd be fucking, and oh god, dude. But if I wasn't drinking, I'd still be a nutcase on that goddamn bike. Um, I always wanted to do a wheelie. I couldn't do a wheelie. It was a Harley 882, I think, iron some shit. Um, but I love that bike, man. It fucking roared. It had nice fucking high bars on it, where like my shoulders just sat right. Man, I miss that fucking bike. What day? But you know what? Excuse me. Um, you know what? One day I'm gonna get a bike, and like a big one, dude, that just fucking cruises. Cause that little fucking Sportster, Streetster, whatever it's called, that thing was uncomfortable at times, and I got a fucked up back. So man, you hit a dip or something. One time I hit a fucking dip on the 605. I was getting on from Whittier Boulevard. No, not Whittier. Like Washington maybe, or Slauson. And I'm getting over, and I'm in like the second lane, the truck lane, and I'm trying to look over. I didn't see this big ass fucking pothole. Boom, boom, dude. My fucking face like almost came to the bars. Like that was a tough one, man. And That was very uncomfortable and it fucking hurt like a bitch. But I still kept my ground and I kept going. I just acted like nobody saw me. And then I got to work probably like all angry and shit. Crazy. Switching vibes now. Alright. Segment one. I want to do life stories, life experiences that I've had in the past. And one of the life experiences I want to talk about is growing up a Teamster kid. Growing up a Teamster kid. Life experience story. My pops, he's a true die-hard pro-union man. No bullshit. He put 40 plus years as a truck driver from mainly Southern California up to like Central California a little bit, delivering frozen product and then paper with another company. They delivered to large print shops, so it was like those big ass rolls of paper. Um, he's a pensioner for sure, you know. However, the dude put in his years. He deserves every check. Every check that man receives, he deserved that shit. Dude was an active union of the active union member when the strikes were popping, dude. This is like I think 94, 95, and they weren't like there was no social media, so it was all newspaper based, and the Teamsters were smart. They had connections within the newspaper, and if they didn't, and a newspaper was gonna run something they didn't like, they'd send a box of a body part to them, and they'd change the story, or never go on with the story. And so things were not always publicized, so it's all story based. And they got violent. The frustrations of not feeling noticed or compensated for, it builds up. And unfortunately, I think those men at that time felt they had no other option. I'd never discuss names or anything negative about anyone, my father included. However, my pops has a lot of stories. I don't know if they involve him, but he's got a lot of stories. Um, so, one of his stories was his local was striking their company and they were picketing outside. Times were getting fucking hard financially. The union did their best to give money to each union member, and my dad said it about $200 a week. It helped, but it didn't help much. And they were called to picket in front of the building every day in shifts. My dad said they'd sleep in front of the building. They'd have fires, they'd pitch in for some meats to cook and shit. And they'd always have beer. And it sounded like a fucking badass camping experience, but like not the best of times at all. Um, so instead of like a camping experience, it was more like a fucking camp badass like soldier base, And they were at war, and they were at war with the company. And once they started seeing scabs coming into work, the vacant shifts, because they were on strike, it was not good. For you who can't tell, but a scab is a person who comes in and fills the employees that are striking. They fill their position for a temporary time while the negotiations are happening. And scabs are very frowned upon in the union world, because you gotta understand, it just covers the wound, you know. A scab just covers the wound and doesn't allow for the outside world to see the the wound. And so as these soldiers, see these scabs coming in, they chase them down or beat the fuck out of them. And to the point that the scabs found like a hole to get under a gate to get into the company so they can go work their shifts. You know, it's hard to pass that picket line, but you gotta drive a truck out of that bitch once you get into the company. And that was the hardest, is coming back out of the company as a scab, driving one of their trucks. And so my dad said they'd cover the windshields with their picket signs and like build a fucking wall of picket signs, and they'd they'd crack the fucking mirrors off of it. They'd run up in the cab. Somebody with their sawed-off shotgun would just shoot the roof, and you couldn't hear because somebody else would be on like the other door and pulling the fucking horn. So it's just like ah, and somebody would just shoot, so you couldn't hear shit. And it was all to like scare the scabs and make a point. So once the cops flooded the area, no one knew dick, no one knew shit, man. My dad he'd speak of these stories, man, with a grimace on his face, and as if he saw right then and there, as he's telling the story, everything was going on around him. Fists clenched, he's bouncing. He's in his shit, he's ready, he's bobbing and weaving. But when I look at him, he talks with so much passion. And that's something I took from this story, is passion. Look, I could judge them for how they carry things, but I'm choosing to look at what they have to carry. My dad said it was about 3 weeks in with no pay, and the fam was hurting, man, for food. Yeah, my mom said it was about 94, 95, and they relied a lot on my dad's salary. My mom worked retail. At that time, women just they're not getting compensated as much as they should. And my mom was making those hot dog weenies and those tortillas, man, over fucking just putting butter in a warm tortilla, and or just a grilled weenie, dude. That was it. That's what we'd eat. No bullshit, man. I kind of miss that shit. I think I'm gonna start eating that shit. Um, so when my dad leaves the home, he looks all around and he takes that stress, and he knows he has to return to that family with nothing in hand, and shit. What did you expect? You expect him to go out there and act proper? He returned to the strike and would mess around there, but still keep his ear and what's going on. Talk to the union delegates and the union stewards, and find out, are they going to agree or not. And by they, I'm referring to the company and the union. A strike. A strike occurs when the union and company are at like a dead stop in the negotiation process. They can't proceed. They're fighting over vacation days. They're fighting over medical. They're fighting over any type of benefits for the employees. And as the negotiations continue, that's when the scabs come in, so the company could still make money while the negotiation happens, and their employees are just shit out of luck and trying to make a point. So the union waited it out and got what they wanted. My dad spoke of his rights with such passion and conviction. Honor, man. I'll always remember that. I hope to find that honor in an employer, or a union, or some type of, even a city council. I wouldn't mind attempting to speak with city council and just keep my ear close to local government. I would never handle those issues in that way, but I understand the passion. My dad means the world to me, and I really respect all the tales he's told me. He's a crazy dude, you know? He's a crazy dude. I love that man. But we're gonna switch vibes again. What? Put your hand up on my hip. When I dip, you dip. We dip. We're dipping out to the next segment. Segment 2. Today. Today was a hard ass day. Um, I really missed my girls, and I got to see them for a little bit. It's not hard to get upset with myself sometimes, so just to like give you guys a little backstory. So I'm currently like living in two places right now. I usually, when I have the girls, I stay at my folks, and because their beds are there, their games, everything, their clothes, their life is there. They have a nice little room set up. When I don't have them, I stay with my fiance out in Chino, California, which is about 36 miles from Whittier, so it's about 72 miles round trip. If I'm picking them up, I'm dropping off. That's 144 miles, dude. So gas sucks right now, although it's cheaper. It's tight. And look, my parents are in their 70s, and it would scare the shit out of me if I brought that virus home to my parents or to the girls or with the girls in the house. Although my ex-wife and I are doing a good job. My ex-wife is just doing as best as she could with all the kids in the home and taking good care of the girls, and they're really like learning a lot. There's two teachers in the house, so it really helps out. Um, and my dad's been feeling like in and out of kind of feeling sick with the head flu, and I can't bring him there, and I had them for about 3 hours this morning, and it was hard, real hard. I had a plan to keep them overnight, uh, maybe overnight tomorrow night, but it didn't work out as such. It just broke my heart. Um, I tried to explain it to my daughters as best as I could, but man, did I take it on my shoulders today. I just wanted to be with my girls, and I wish I had this. I wish this motherfucking virus was gone. I wish I was in a better position to have stable home for me and my girls. Yeah, I wish I didn't have to rely on my ex-wife. Although I'm glad we can work well together. It's still. I wish things were just a little more stable. Um, this might just be a rant to some of you guys, but I needed to get that shit off my chest. Um, I miss those girls, and I made them a video on my YouTube that we got to watch together. Those girls, man. The only thing my oldest daughter took from it was, oh, you said more nice things about me than Gabs. Ay, ay, ay. That little girl, I just explained to her she can't do that. That's not. I get it. I guess you compare love. Me and my siblings always mess around that. Lisa's the favorite daughter, or I'm the favorite son, or Emma's the favorite daughter, or my brother's the favorite son, and the favorite kid, But um, I watch Gab's reaction, and Gabs usually gives it right back to her. Shit. Um, Audrey tries to punk her, but Gabs ain't having that shit, and Gabs will give it back to her, and Gabs will be giving it back, and she'll be looking at me, waiting for either a smile. If like I smile and tell her like, okay, keep going, and she'll keep going, or if I say like, okay, no more, babe, um, she just, man, she'll go in on Audrey. But Gabs loved hearing her name and me saying, "What about your big 4-year-old? Your big 4-year-old?" And she goes, you know, I'm just using those moments to help me fight those feelings of, inadequacy, and it seems to help, but I know I needed to get that shit off my chest. It's just, it's not always easy, and my current situation is just difficult, and people might not understand that, and um, but they don't understand that if I'm not able to be the best dad I can be, oh, why should I make them see destroyed dad or a dad going through his issues? Although they did get a glimpse, they got enough that I think that was enough, and I felt it was enough, so I made that decision. Sorry, the battery is getting low. So I made that decision, and I explained it to them as best as I could, and we had an emotional time together, and we got to be, vulnerable with each other, and that drive from Chino to Whittier, so I got to use that time to really just speak with them and let them know how much I do love them, and that had this virus not be going on, I'd be able to take them to my parents. Everything's normal, perfectly fine. I have them every other, day, whatever, back to normal schedule. I have them Mondays, Wednesdays, and every other weekend. Usually the girls are in sports, so I'm very active with their sports, and I see them nearly every day. So it's really nice, and they love it. And this whole virus thing has just fucked everything up. Um, Without the virus, I'm able to balance it in two households quite well. This is not a permanent situation, but it is a current situation, so I have to face it the best way I can. Um, so I try to keep my head up, keep talking to my support, my people around me, um, make positive time out of it, not negative. Don't spend my time dwelling or making myself feel bad at all. It's about like boosting myself up in this fucking time, dude. I gotta be better than yesterday, and I'm trying. I'm trying, and I get to put in, 30 minutes, 45 minutes here on the podcast, and I love it. This is a real release for me. Uh, so I'm glad I get to share these experiences with all of you, and I hope at some point as it grows, people will want to share their experiences with me. Um, I do want to have guests on. I do want to interview people, but if you want to be on, you gotta be open to just talk to me, and don't bullshit things. Don't lie. I'll never ask you things that are too much. I'll give you every question, every note I have. You can cross out whatever you want. Um, I'm not like a fucking bastard. That's the best way of explaining that. A fucking bastard. No, I'm not trying to say that. Uh, but then if I don't say that, am I a fucking bastard? Who knows? But yeah, share your shit. Hopefully I get to that point where people put their trust into me. This is episode 6, so I'm pumped. I want to break that episode 9 uh, fallout where most episodes fail by episode 9, or they lose interest, or they can't find anything else to talk about. That won't happen with me. Alright, so tune into the next one. I think I'm gonna record one tomorrow. Alright, peace.